being a parent, especially for the first time, with that comes a lot of self-doubt. As a dad, I just try to lead by example. When you're trying to be the best person that you can be, your kids see that and then they emulate that.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, welcome. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon, and you're watching Mississippi Live Weather at 5. It has been a hot day, and thankfully, maybe mercifully, it has been a dry day considering all the rainfall we've had recently. A front has shoved a lot of our moisture south of here. That's not to say that the rain chances are completely gone, but today, certainly, we haven't had them, and we do not anticipate them going into the evening. I think we're going to have the most limited of rain chance on your Thursday. I think most of us probably aren't going to see anything meaningful at least, but there are some limited showers we'll look at coming up here in a couple of minutes. But I do think either way, this probably plays out like the 4th of July should be dry. Certainly if we were to see anything, it would be very, very light. And even then, almost all of our projections show completely dry conditions. Now, we'll be heating up a bit more by then, but this is coming into the July 4th holiday weekend. We expect heat, and we'll track, of course, when that is most likely coming up for you here in a couple of minutes as well. Outside, as you can kind of see behind that graphic there, things looking pretty good out in the Macon area. Temperature is 89 degrees. Anytime we are July 2 and it's 89, we're in good shape. I mean, yes, we add a couple degrees, 4 to that for the feels like temperature, but you've noticed those northerly winds or obviously the drier air associated with those as we've gone throughout the day. Certainly that's still the case this afternoon. Any of the little puffy cumulus clouds we have, they remain fairly small. And so as a result, things in pretty good shape. And of course, appreciate the folks with North Mississippi Storm Chasers for this camera network that we're going to be utilizing here. It is very, very helpful and will save lives when we get in severe weather situations. Greenville right now. Now this is one of the exceptions to the rules. In the Delta, the amount of moisture is substantially higher, 91 the temperature, but it feels like 99, and it's despite that north wind. The drier air obviously having a lesser impact there. And outside in Tupelo at this time, all of our clouds fairly flat in nature, mainly cirrus, and even the puffy clouds that we have not particularly high. So the heat index only adding 2 degrees at 90 degrees. You do not do a whole lot better than that without having some kind of rainfall in July. And certainly we're doing pretty good today. So yeah, the heat index is certainly greater in the Delta. I mean, anytime though you're 88 for what it feels like Holly Springs or 93 even in Bruce, we're in pretty good shape. Kosciuszko coming in 93 and 95 in Belzona. So as we go throughout the first 12 hours here, again, no rainfall expected into the night. Those temperatures drop in the 78 as we look toward 9 p.m. Note the northerly wind. That's the impact of this fairly weak front. It's weak in that it didn't have a lot of lift with it. It's weak in that it's not going to necessarily completely shove the moisture away, but strong in the fact that it's at least helped us out somewhat. We'll be 70 by 3 o'clock in the morning and then 69 to begin the first part of your Thursday morning. So the overall setup we have on kind of the wider shot here. Here's that front all the way practically at the coast. You can see we do have some showers down there into the Gulf and out there toward New Orleans related to this. Any more meaningful rainfall all the way back out here toward the plains. I'm going to go ahead and add on what we call the water vapor satellite, if you give me a moment here to do that. And the reason I want to show you that is we kind of widen things out just a little bit. I'm going to go just a little wider than that. You can see all the browns representing the dry air that has kind of has swooped in with this, and that has helped to shove this front south and help conditions be fairly pleasant. But if you look a little closer as well, I want to point back again toward locations in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. This green you see here, a little more humid air. There's just this little wave that's going to be tracking from the northwest in, and that's where that ever so limited chance for a few showers ends up probably coming from. Here's kind of a quick look at Futurecast between now and early tomorrow. As you can see, the clouds, we have that. Most of the rainfall solidly back out there toward Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. But as we get toward early tomorrow morning, a little bit more of that moisture starts getting closer to us, getting there, as you can see, closer to the Mississippi River, out there toward locations out around Tunica or Clarksdale. By 6 a.m. on your Thursday, more likely to maybe see a few showers getting into our area as we head toward mid-morning, perhaps even into the afternoon. The thinking, though, is that a lot of this is going to probably evaporate before it gets to the surface, and meaningful rainfall is not really going to be the headline related to this, thankfully. As high pressure continues to build into the area, we'll look more in detail at how that's going to kind of play out, come up here in a couple of minutes with a complete look at Futurecast. So over the next 24 hours, tomorrow 69, about as nice as you're going to get to start a day for this time of the year. It's looking really nice. We're 79 by 9 a.m., 86 by noon. And here's that limited chance for a few showers. It is possible, again, to get maybe some sprinkles. We're not expecting much in the way of meaningful moisture out of this. High temperatures around 90. It'll actually feel pretty close to the 90-degree point, and I don't think we'll be getting a lot of complaints related to that. Okay, so we'll be looking at Futurecast and the timing of some of those limited rain chances. We'll also be looking ahead at heat indices as we get closer to the 4th of July holiday. That, as Mississippi Live Weather at 5 continues right after this.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lawpon.
You know, as we briefly talked about before the break, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day for tomorrow. Those north winds continue and extremely limited chances for precipitation. So 90, I mean, our 30-year average for this time of year is around 92. So obviously a little bit below that. And, you know, find a way to get outside and enjoy tomorrow morning. I don't care if it's a bike ride or just 2 seconds to just sit and take a deep breath, because this time of year, usually that is associated even with sweating, just as hot and sticky as we have been. And you know, we'll obviously work our way back toward Aberdeen, coming in at 90 degrees at this time. Again, one of those other spots where that heat index comes in at around 97. So one of the more sticky locations that we do have. But that heat advisory, and we had those last week, that's when the heat index is in excess of 105. That's not the case. We are not going to have that going into this holiday weekend. I think even through the holiday weekend, we're probably going to be very manageable as we look out and about around the region. And again, those clouds, you can see how kind of flat they are. Not a lot of vertical development. Same thing in West Point as of 5:08. We're looking at 91 degrees. The temperature feels like around 95. And yeah, the fact there's any kind of wind movement, maybe it's just me. I feel like I'm reaching that age where I'm always hot this time of year. Certainly any wind movement makes a big difference as far as that is concerned. We look at the visible satellite here. I have what we call the meso or the super high res visible satellite. You can see mainly what we have are those very high thin clouds kind of moving through, and then all the little dots represent the small little puffy cumulus clouds. There's just nothing out there that has a significant vertical development around here. You look for the real, things even back toward the south part of Arkansas aren't as impressive. Those back there closer to Pine Bluff, that's where you actually have something that might produce anything. But looking at Mississippi Live Weather Radar, at this point, we are cleared. Nothing but bugs and clear air returns out there, and you can even just see the motion of it. Again, those north winds, that's what we get to thank for the beautiful, compared to this time of year, we typically expect beautiful weather that we do have in place. Of course, unless you want the, go to the lake. This is not exactly perfect weather for that, but I think we have more heat on the way the weekend. So if that's what you're looking for, we've got it for you. So again, looking at Futurecast during the overnight period, not expecting much in the way of meaningful moisture out there. As you can see, that's absolutely what we expect. But as we progress into the overnight hours, those clouds do thicken up, and it remains possible we could have a couple of patches of fog out there for early tomorrow morning. We just had so much rainfall recently. I think that seems reasonable. Rain all staying west of us at that point. Low temperatures tomorrow morning, upper 60s to maybe low 70s. I mean, come on. 68 in Houston, 67 there in Bruce. We just don't get this kind of weather that often. So Red Bay at 67, 68 in Iuka, and about 68 degrees in Eupora and Starkville. So, I mean, beautiful for this time of the year. But notice on Futurecast, we're looking at 7:30 in the morning, fairly light showers depicted on there. Note that if we were going to see something of more significance, we'd expect this to be more yellows, at least, or not oranges or reds showing up. So this is not super significant as far as rainfall is concerned. In fact, it might be what meteorologists refer to as Virgo, where it's raining aloft and then it evaporates before it gets to the surface. The only reason I'm not 100% sure of that is just all of our projections have it in there, but they all have it extremely light. So not expecting it to be particularly meaningful, not something I think you'd even be planning to have to move indoors from. And the takeaway is that we're mostly dry for tomorrow, even as we go into the afternoon. You kind of see the shadow from it at the top there, high pressure, the sinking air from that, more than anything else, probably dominates and helps us to stay dry. As we look at high temperatures for tomorrow, we expect those to be somewhere around the 90-degree point, around 92, we'll say, in the Tupelo area, about 90 Eupora, 92 Grenada, Kosciuszko 92. That 30-year average is around 90 to 92 degrees. So, I mean, this is pretty much exactly what we expect. The big thing is the heat index doesn't add much, especially for locations. Of course, Delta, there ends up always being a little bit more moisture that leads to more humidity out there. It's easier for the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico to infiltrate. And of course, because of the cropland there, it's easier for the rain that we've had recently to just sit there. And then when we get dry like this, to evaporate out and keep the moisture levels higher and the heat indices higher as well. We'll be about 93 degrees in Amory, Columbus 91, and 89 degrees in the Boonville area by tomorrow afternoon for those heat indices. As you can see, again, the rainfall remaining extremely limited, most of us staying dry into tomorrow evening. As we progress into your Friday, of course, Independence Day, everybody says, can we please just get it dry? Well, I think that's what we're probably going to end up having. As you can see here, Futurecast keeping us dry as we go into even the afternoon. Yes, back out there into Arkansas, there are some rain and storm chances possibly, but notice how our winds, even more of kind of a northeasterly direction. And this time of year, if we're going to get kind of a northeast wind, typically that's going to keep us fairly dry. So we'll have the puffy cumulus clouds, but as far as meaningful precipitation is concerned related to this, probably not talking about anything. And as you can see, we're at fireworks time here, even in Arkansas, where they had some of those showers trying to pop up. By the time we roll into evening, I think those fireworks displays, whether the ones in Tupelo or Columbus or all over the area, I think we're in pretty good shape and hopefully going to keep conditions dry even into your Saturday pre-dawn hours there. So high temperatures on the 4th, mid-90s. It's hot enough that you are going to want to make sure to hydrate. And here's the deal. A lot of times when we're hot this time of year, we're just high on the humidity, and so you're sweating, you're like, oh, I'm so sweaty, I gotta drink more water. In this case, because it's slightly drier, you're gonna be slightly less sweaty, and so you might not notice as much. So of course, we know you're gonna do what you're gonna do, but try to drink those beverages that rehydrate as much as possible. Here's a look at the North Mississippi 7-day forecast. We're 94 for the high on your Saturday, 95 by Sunday. 94 Friday, 95 by Saturday. The thing on Saturday is the rain chance is at 0, but it's pretty limited. Of the next 3 days where we don't have percentages on there, Friday, Independence Day is the most likely of those to be dry. We anticipate we'll be probably mid-90s again as we look toward Sunday. And rain chances do start to come back a little bit more by Monday and Tuesday of next week. Of course, let me go back to that real quick here because we can get away with doing that because I clicked past it. Looking toward that, we do get up around 30 to 40% on some of those rain chances. So, I mean, we don't stay dry for an extensive period of time this time of year, but it is nice to see that we at least get a dry period that does extend through the 4th. Coming up at 6 o'clock on Mississippi Live Weather, we'll be looking more at the far extended forecast, which is something I think we'll have a little more time to do in this format here. And speaking of that, if you have not picked up the Mississippi Live Weather apps, they are live. They are available for iOS and Android. Snap a picture of this, and you can download those. And just a huge thank you to all of you that have already done that. Obviously, we really appreciate it. We'll have the very latest on your forecast coming up at 6 o'clock. But for live from downtown Tupelo, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon for Mississippi Live Weather.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.